that you should be getting an attribution for. So we'll do that. And then we'll take a break. And then we'll get into Cloud Ascent, which is the one program of all superfluous programs that are out there that is available to you today that is amazing. It is just, especially with your current customer base, a lot of our methodologies with our current customers is we set it and forget a lot of times, right? A customer comes to us and they'll buy something, and we purchase, we give that to them, but we don't go back to our customer base sometimes, right? What this Cloud Ascent model is called propensity models. It's using data and machine learning to find buyer intent within your current customer base. There's a great report. I'm going to show you about this program. You're going to be like, holy Moses, I didn't even know that this is available. And it is. So we'll get into that. Now, when that's done, then we switch into the partner profitability piece. Okay, so you can decide at that point, I'll give you a cutoff time. If you want to continue, you can. If not, no big deal. We'll move forward. Okay, so that's that. Let's just go ahead and get right into the introduction agenda. So I'm going to go over the Microsoft Partner Function, very small. We're going to talk about some of the Microsoft Partner challenges. I'll be interested to hear if you guys have the same ones. We'll get into working with Microsoft sellers. Okay, working with Microsoft sellers. That is, the way I think about things. If I'm going to hitch my wagon to this post, how do I get the highest level? But then, how do I get Microsoft to help build my business? Right? Whether it's investing in my business or bringing me into deals that are bigger, right? That I can actually start selling into, right? So we're going to talk about that. And then we'll get into this thing called Microsoft Co-op. That's in the program. How do we get free money? Not free money from them, but how do we actually use money that they're telling us they want to keep from us? We're going to talk about that. And then we'll get into the workshop exercises. All right. So let's go ahead and just get right into it, if you don't mind. And I'm going to be going back and forth, with my cool switcher that I have here. So we'll try to keep this open to you. So look, just basics here. Okay, what is the Microsoft Partner Function? And it's pretty simple, but Microsoft partners, what do? We work with Microsoft to deliver innovative solutions, right? More now than ever, right? Innovative solutions to our clients by purchasing and redistributing our software via our distribution channels, right? Synex, Tech Data, Ingram, Arrow, that type of thing, right? Microsoft then gives us a margin, right, to sell the product. Like for Azure, we get 15 points to our distributor, but then Microsoft also provides us back-end incentives. They call them rebates, but in my mind, I think a rebate is a one-time thing. I've never thought about a rebate as a residual income, but what Microsoft provides you is actually residual back-end payments based on what you sell. Thank you very much. Could be 4%, 6%. Like Teams phone migration, Teams phone E5, I think you're making like 22% on the background. I mean, there's a lot of different incentives that come along. Okay, so you get that. Great, perfect, awesome, right? But we need to make sure we maximize that. Okay, then what do we do as a partner? We implement these great technologies. And lastly, and I like to look at this last little bullet point on this. Look, we typically sell 200 different line card items, right? We sell a lot as a managed service provider, but today 99% of the conversations have to do starting with Microsoft. There's just that's Copilot sucking the air out of everything. Okay. Great. Now, and Adam, you're in security, so oh gosh, are we doing security with Copilot security? Like, how is that? Okay, what do we, right? So, but that's the reality of it, right? Is we are talking quite a bit. Okay, now I want to talk about the history behind the reason why we're here is the solution partner designation, right? Is trying to figure this out. So I love this slide because I think this is apropos to, I look at the building as Microsoft corporate. Right, and the strategists are at the very top, and they are looking at each other, and they're coming up with this great, strategy, right? But then they bring it down to the bottom, and then we are the ones that are looking up, right? We're the partners, we're the ones out in the street, and we're like, okay, I don't know if that's landing down here very well, and I'm so confused. And up top, they're like, no, this makes a whole lot of sense. Okay, so if we understand that, the history behind this new solution path is, let's go back, 2022, Microsoft came out with the new solution partner designation path, right? And it was great. Came out with a lot of fanfare. And the initial idea was, hey, look, partners, there's just so much new cloud stuff coming out. We think it'd be a good idea if you specialize a little bit more because it's almost impossible to be an expert at all of these things, right? And I was like, okay, cool, that makes sense. I think when it first came out, it made sense. Then they said, okay, well, just further communication on this, we're going to be getting rid of silver and gold legacy certifications, and that's when all of a sudden the tires started to start screeching, like, wait, what, right? And they said, look, what we're going to do is these new designations are going to be a combination of silver and gold. Boop. Okay, we're going to give you all the benefits of a gold certification, right? A lot of our partners are silver, and we're like, well, how do we get that? Okay, well, that's cool. We get more benefits. However, they also put these metrics, these attainment numbers, at a level for, frankly, much bigger partners. So a lot of the feedback we've had is, hey, attainment's too hard, right? They set the bar too high. Skilling requirement way too high. How do we ever achieve that, right? What's going on? So we had this, but so that came out, and but Microsoft came back and said, but look, hey, what we want to do is help you focus on skilling. That's really the big thing here. Is we want to get you up to date, okay? Get your people up to date, which actually helps in one key component of your business that you may not realize today is the silent killer of your business. The silent killer, and this happens. It's called utilization rate. Okay, think about this. How long does it take your people to implement the solutions, right? And if your people don't know the product or know how to implement, it takes them 2, 3, 4, 5 hours more than they would typically have to do if they were experts at what they were doing. For example, you go put an SOW to put together a great NDR solution with a, maybe implementing Sentinel, and you put on your SOW, it's going to take 15 hours to do this. But if your internal technical resources are taking 18, 19, 20 to get it done, that's profitability killer, right? Next thing you know it, if you look at your deal, you're like, gosh, I'm only making 12, 13% on this deal where I needed 50% to keep our business going, right? So it's a silent killer. So actually it's going to help us if we understand it. So now let's look at the history and why this came out. There's a catalyst to this whole thing. Back in 2015, Office 365 came out. Sweet. Okay, right. BPOS was beforehand business professional office systems, office solution. I can't remember but it turned into, all we had to do back in 2015 was go to our current customer base, say, hey, by the way, check this out. You no longer have to buy one license at a time. And then number 2, it's going to be updated. You get 5 downloads. Remember that conversation? You get 5 downloads. And then, oh, by the way, remember that Exchange server you had, that problematic one that I keep coming to help and fix? That's going to go bye-bye, right? And everyone's like, I think most people, oh, holy crap, this is awesome, right? And then more innovations. So then 2017 rolls around, and that's when we had our very first wave of security attacks. Now, I mean, you know this one, right? That's our first phishing wave that went across the country, where everyone's getting phished and ransom for phishing, right? Or for ransom for Bitcoin, right? Okay, we'll release your stuff. Now, Microsoft then came out with a new product called M365, right? To this day, 10 years later, I still don't know what the M stands for. I've been asking for years. No one can tell me that, but hey, somebody came up with this idea. But that came out. So security, great. Yeah, Microsoft, number 2 tech company in the world. Well, wouldn't they have the best ideas on what to do? Yeah, great. So that was awesome, right? 2019 rolls around, pandemic. Holy crap. Now we have this super acceleration of cloud adoption. I mean, super, right? Now, Teams phone migration. Oh my gosh, Teams came out, right? But in the meantime, Microsoft also, remember, Azure rolled out in 2015 as well. I mean, like really fully to the public, right? It was kind of dancing around, but really fully public. And Microsoft says, hey, we're going to allow ISVs, independent software vendors, to create applications to make Azure quicker, faster, better, that kind of stuff. So if we fast forward from 2015 to today, there's been over 6,000 net new cloud workloads. 6,000. Okay, holy Moses, right? That's a lot, right? And things have changed considerably about what you do and how you go to market with the public. So Microsoft said, okay, in 2020, all of a sudden, Microsoft corporate started waking up in the morning, looking themselves in the mirror, and they got 2 black eyes. And they're like, what the hell's going on here, right? Why am I getting this black eye? I wasn't in the fight last night. Okay, next day, same thing. Oh my gosh. So what started happening is we started getting a lot of complaints from customers in 2020, 2021, okay? Because these partners had silver and gold cloud platform. That was the Azure one, cloud platform. And companies were calling in saying, hey, I had to migrate my whole server farm over to Azure. I went with your gold partner because they had gold, and I didn't go with these other 2 partners. But let me tell you, this gold partner sucks. They don't know what they're doing. They've blown this thing up. Same with Teams, same with security, they started getting a lot of complaints. right, with this. And I think what finally came down was, hey, we need to force this. We need to actually say, okay, look, everybody, if there's 6,000 new cloud workloads, you guys can't be a gold cloud platform partner with one Azure admin and say that you're the expert at everything. You just can't be. Let's just be honest, right? So in retrospect, if we understand the history behind this, we can understand the purpose. And then we can, I think, also then come to the formation of, hey, maybe not a bad idea. Maybe this will help us, right? And in your case, Adam, I know we're here for the Azure stuff, but you got the security solution partner designation that's important, I think, really for your organization, right? Getting that one. We can talk about that if you haven't gotten it yet. Yeah, I mean, that's really the history behind it, guys. That in itself will help us understand. So now, okay, what do we need to do? Okay, so let's go into some of these partner challenges. And I don't know if you guys agree to some of these things, but I think one of the ones that I see quite a bit is, how do we stack up as a business evaluation, right? How do we stack up against our top 25, partners that are growth partners? We may not want to stack up, but how do we? I think that's always a question, right? Navigation of partner portal is another massive, challenge that our partners are seeing, right? What should we focus on? Now, this is near and dear to my heart. I think if you are a traditional managed services provider, the thought behind that was recurring revenue. I think everyone thought about that, recurring revenue. I want to charge a monthly fee. And then managed services, or MSSP, right, is a security management fee, right? So it's this recurring revenue thing. I think that's good. But if we are a current partner that sells everything to everyone, okay, we're like a ship that has 1,000 barnacles on the bottom of our ship, right? We're getting slower and slower. Our margins are eroding more and more and more and more and more. And the reality is, how can you be a managed services provider and now know 5,000 cloud workloads and do all their IT? I think what we need to do is maybe shift our focus to be more specialized into not being, hey, I provide all IT services, but hey, I provide solutions to problems inside of an industry. I want us to start planting that as a seed in your head today. How do we maybe effectively change? What do we focus on, right? We can't focus on, if you have 6,000 or 5,000 workloads in Microsoft, how do you have in the other manufacturers? You're probably working with Sophos, or you're looking where, working with Palo Alto and Cisco and all these other. Shit, they're innovating, right? Oh my God, NVIDIA, they're innovating. Right. So all these things. So we gotta be kind of careful with what we do. So we need to figure that out. Now, the other thing is sales and net new customer acquisition. The way I look at sales and marketing, actually, for our partner base is we're like the Tyrannosaurus Rex, okay, of industry. We have sales and marketing are those little tiny arms that can't go anywhere. We just don't know sales and marketing very well. Because we built our business on referral base. I call it the I'm on fire method. Somebody has a problem, they call a friend up, call you up, 99% close rate, bing. But our net new customer acquisition and marketing are just atrophy. It's tiny little things. So that's near and dear. I'm going to cover that up. I'm going to clear a lot of that stuff up today. Now, 3 things to work on, okay, that you didn't know. Marketplace. Do you have an offer in the Microsoft Marketplace? If you don't, we have to get one in the next 30 days, okay? It was always an issue. People kept telling you, put an offer in the Marketplace. But in all reality, if we asked 100 people who got leads from the Marketplace, we would, out of 100 people, only maybe one would raise their hand because we didn't know what it was really for. Today, it's the most important thing. I think one of the most important things as a partner to have offers, because that opens up, first and foremost, the ability to work with Microsoft sellers. Now, what better way, instead of going out and trying to bring in net new customers, that are 500, 600, 800 seats that you have to build relationships out of thin air, what better way than to get walked in by a Microsoft sales executive, right? I mean, that's the Valhalla moment, right? So, but Marketplace kicks that off. Secondly, advanced specialization. So we're here today to learn about a solution partner designation, but in reality, what we're here to do is figure out, what I want you to do is think, okay, that's going to be my next step, but my ultimate step is to become an advanced specialized partner. Okay, now I know this because I work with this much as security partners, so I know this, Adam. There's only, I think, 22 total advanced specialized security partners in the United States. Okay, so that gives us great intel to say, yeah, I want to do that, because you know what happens is when you become an advanced specialized partner, you get added to a very specific drop-down list, very special drop-down list that a Microsoft sales executive can say, okay, I need a security partner in where Adam, where are you at? Where are you out of?
New York.
New York. Okay, great. Going there actually in July, by the way, end of July. Anyways, yeah, so they can go to New York and they can look up who are the security advanced specialized partners. Oh, look, Adam's company, great. Hey, Adam, got this customer. Can we talk about it? Boom, right? And if there's only 20 plus partners, there's a lot of opportunity here. Okay, last thing is co-sell and deal registration. People didn't know about that. Our partner challenges. Why is that important? Super important today, because now you're being scored on that. Are you using deal registration to show how you're working with Microsoft? A lot of partners don't know about that, but we're going to clear that up today. Okay, let's go into our next slide here, and this is Microsoft Co-op. So actually, a quick question for you, Adam. Do you know what Microsoft Co-op is, and have you used it at all for marketing?
I have not, but I've heard my account managers refer to co-op funds that they were trying to pull for me. I don't know if that was relevant to what you're doing.
Yes, exactly.
I don't know what they are beyond the rep saying, yeah, we're going to move some stuff on the back end. Maybe we could get you some additional margin. Okay, just sure. It was always a mystery to me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good. Well, good. So I'm clearing up right now. So there's two things. There's co-op from your, who's your provider? Who's your indirect? Ingram. Okay, Ingram. Yeah. So they have some co-op dollars that they get from Microsoft to help spend on that, but then you also do. So what it really is, just to clear this all up, Microsoft says, look, okay, you get a margin, right? So you go to Ingram, you get your margin. Okay. But then Microsoft says, thank you for selling that. We're going to give you residual income, on the back end. So it could be anywhere between 1%, 6%, 7%, 10%, whatever, right? But what it does is Microsoft says, okay, over 6 months, we are going to accumulate. We're going to track all that money. At the end of 6 months, if you have over $10,000, we're going to split it up into 2 buckets. 60% of that, okay, over 10,000, so $6,000 will be sent to you in a check. And that's that random check you get every 6 months from Microsoft that you have no idea what that's for. Okay, that's what that money really is. Now, the other 40 cents of it, the 40%, goes into a co-op bucket. So that accrues. Okay, and then what you get as a partner, you have the ability to spend against that actual real dollars. So if you want to do any marketing, print, digital, hands-on labs, content syndication, Facebook ads, whatever you want to do on that, you can then spend your money, get the invoice, send it to Microsoft, they'll cut you a check. It's actually pretty simple to get that money. One of a few simple programs at Microsoft to get the money that you're trying to get. Okay, so it's actually quite simple. However, this is the caveat to this. Okay, if you have under 10,000, they say, we're not splitting it up, we're just gonna give you a check. No problem.
Hold on, the 10,000 is based on what? 10,000?
Back-end incentives. So if you had $100,000 in Microsoft licensing, right, and you got 5% of that, okay, on back-end incentives. These are, residuals, right? So that's $5,000, right? If you had 200,000 in Microsoft licensing sales, you'd have $10,000 in back-end rebates that are coming to you. So every little percentage, and I'm going to show you where those percentages are so that you can kind of start calculating that. And we're going to actually show you today in Partner Center if you have any money.
Because I'm not getting any checks that you're describing from Microsoft. I'm not getting anything.
Oh, okay. But you're a CSP provider, though, right?
We are.
Okay.
I get my margin from Ingram. I'm not aware of any checks coming my way. We do about 15,000 a month on between Azure and Microsoft 365 SKUs.
Oh. Okay. Well, we're missing something. We will identify it today in your Partner Center, guaranteed. You just might not be signed up, or do you have a silver and gold legacy competency right now?
I never had anything beyond maps. Just
okay.
Is that why?
That's why. That's exactly why. When you have, I'm a maps partner too. I'm a French fry. But I only have one customer, and it's myself. But we'll show you how to get to the next level, which will then unlock. I'm going to show you where we're going to be unlocking buckets of money, guys. I mean, I'm going to show you where the waterfall is. Most people don't know about it, but okay. So we're going to fix that for you. We'll see if you have anything that's eligible or ineligible funds. We'll show you that in the part. So that's really what it is. Okay. And the main thing is you get incentives and we want to use that money. And now, if you don't have any money, I love the fact that Ingram is coming to you saying, hey, let's look at some co-op, because they do want to invest. Ingram's really good about that. If you come to them with an idea, and for example, like our hands-on labs that we do for our partner base, that's a great thing to go back to them and say, hey, can you fund this? Because it's real world 20 to 30 registrants, 10 to 15 attendees, 2 to 3 sales qualified leads. The metrics hit, and you just have to think about, okay, what is the ROI, and what do I go back with a real plan for Ingram? Because they want to invest with partners who kind of get it and know exactly what they're trying to get done, and they'll invest. It's because they get a lot. They get a percentage from Microsoft. And then think about the billions of dollars they send through, right? So they do have a big bucket. Okay, there's that. Now, working with Microsoft sellers. Okay, this is the most important slide of the whole day. Okay, and the reason why I say that, there we go. Okay, I want you to pay special attention to the bottom of the second paragraph. If you're going to snip anything or take anything down, these are what I call the keys to the castle. Okay, we got to figure out, okay, how do we work with Microsoft sellers? Okay, if I'm thinking the big picture here, I'm thinking, okay, what do I need to qualify? So I need to have a solution partner designation, right? So that's after maps. Then I need to get an advanced specialization. Okay, I need to have a co-sell deal in the marketplace that's called co-sell ready. And then I need to start using the co-sell deal registration process to start just letting Microsoft know that I'm here, that I'm trying to sell some of these services, and we just register deals along with that, right? So the history, and the reason why I bring this slide up is because for the last 5 years, Microsoft sales executives have been inundated. 100 partners a month or a week come to them. Hey, give me a deal, right? And these sellers are like, well, thank you, but no, I'm not here to build your business, and I don't trust you. I don't know you. All the sellers, I can tell you what they really care about. They care about bringing a partner in, implementing the solution they're talking about, and having a great implementation. They don't want a black eye. They want to count on you to be able to do something. So if the history goes, they were getting that. But back in July of 2023, this is last year, Microsoft said, okay, hard stop. Every sales executive, you have to attach a Microsoft partner to every deal. Otherwise, your compensation goes like to that. Sellers then said, no, we get too many inquiries. So then Microsoft came back and said, okay, we'll put a bar. This is the bar. Okay, if you meet this criteria, then, as I mentioned, you go to a small drop down. Now you can start doing that. So how we're doing it with our partners that we've shepherded them through, sometimes it takes 6-8 months to get this. At the conclusion, this is what I tell my partners. I said, look, okay, now we got this. Okay, now we need to get appointments with these Microsoft sellers. We need to let them know. So I say, okay, go back the past 12 months, and I want to know 6 to 8 of your customers you brought in that you've already done the implementation for. I'm going to take those deals that you did, and I'm going to re-register them as a co-sell opportunity, okay? And I'm going to get a meeting with the seller, okay? Not because we actually have a licensing opportunity, but because I want to let the seller know, hey, we're in this account, and we do X, Y, and Z. And then, by the way, do you have any other customers that we could maybe implement the same solution, okay? So think about this. Now, I'll give you an example of how we actually made it work that will then get you like, okay, I get it now. So I have a partner, and I can even say it online, Sentinel Technologies, great partner, monster partner. Took it about 8 months to get 5 SPDs and an advanced specialization. So then I said, okay, get me those clients. We found a municipality, okay, a really big one in the Southwest, okay. And what I did is I registered that, and I got a meeting with the Microsoft seller. So the Microsoft seller comes on. Our introduction to the seller was, hey, thank you so much for coming today. The purpose of this call is to help you understand what Sentinel Technologies can do, and also to talk about this municipality and what they're looking for, right? She's like, oh, great, this is my account. This is fantastic. And Sentinel has done co-op workshops, or excuse me, co-pilot workshops. They're the first. They're in October, they were doing it last year, right? So they said, hey, this customer wants to do a co-pilot workshop, and this municipality would like to know if there's any funds available to offset the cost of my workshop, which is $7,000. And the seller at Microsoft said, wait, okay, wait, are you saying Copilot? Yeah, you already have this? And I said, yeah, Copilot. And she's like, oh my gosh, absolutely. That's my charter. That's what everyone's telling me. I need to do Copilot workshops with all my client base, right? So yes, let me get you some money. She looked it up. She's like, absolutely, we can get this the $7,000. So that was cool. But then the next question was, hey, by the way, what other municipalities do you have that might be interested in this Copilot workshop? And right away, you know what she said? She's like, would you like me to show you all my customers? I can open up my customer base to you right now and we can look. Okay, yeah, right. So long story short is 5 of the other municipalities she was working with in that same region all could use this. And now the Sentinel walks away with not just, hey, we helped this one customer out, but now extrapolated into 5 more opportunities. Monsters, right? That is the methodology of how to work with a Microsoft seller. However, we just need to make sure we get the keys to the castle to be able to do that. Now, the second paragraph here is, now this is, you'll know that this is the only thing that we're focusing on, okay, over the next 8 to 15 months, okay, is achieving these things. That's it, okay? I don't want you working on anything else. I want you to be focused on that, because this will also unlock buckets. If you have an advanced specialization, you can get 4 times the backend incentives than you can as just a regular SPD. It's unbelievable, right? So it's going to open up all this stuff. I want you to forget all the 1,000 other programs that are there. Yeah, Adam.
Just the fact that it doesn't use an or, it specifies that you have to have all of those things. Is that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you just said that there were 22 in the country that had the advanced. So this category right here is pretty damn exclusive then. Yeah.
It is. And the thing is, okay, is the behemoth that is the big manufacturer, you having so many partners going down 15 different paths to figure this all out. You actually now are going to have this little roadmap. Like, okay, I don't have to worry about this other stuff, and I'm not getting misled. It's kind of like you're going down the wrong path. Oh shoot, that's going to take me 6 months to go back and forward. Yeah, it's exclusive membership, but you can do it if you focus. Forget the rest. My analogy with Microsoft, this is my analogy, you probably agree with this, is Microsoft comes out with a new product. Imagine this product is a salmon. They're like, okay, look at this salmon. This is amazing, right? It's beautiful. You're going to chop it up. You're going to serve it. It's going to be amazing, right? You love it, right? You love it. You love it. And all the partners are like, yeah, this is great. And they're like, okay, pay special attention. There's 3 dots at the tail. Do you see these 3 dots? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, okay, hold on a second. You get 3 dots, right? They get up, take the salmon, and they walk over to the ocean and they throw it in the ocean. Then they come back to you and say, okay, hey, if you're interested in that salmon, bring it back to me. Find it in the ocean with those 3 dots. Don't bring me any other salmons because I'm not going to be interested in helping you out, right? That's the analogy that is, I think, Microsoft in general. And that's why this is important, because that's all we need to focus on. Yeah, that's it. Forget the rest. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're at 8:44. I'm going to push through. Usually I take a break at 9. We usually kind of hit this at 9. But I'm going to push through into the actual solution partner designations, and then we'll take a break if that's okay. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So let's just look at some of the challenges with this new solution partner designation. I think from the customer or partner base, there's confusion as to what were they really designed for. We kind of talked about that. What is the goal behind it, right? Our partners are having trouble with customer attainment. How do I get enough Azure customers to qualify for this, because it's too hard, right? Skilling requirement. Oh my gosh, I don't have all these skilling people. I don't have all these people to take these tests. That's hard to get, right? How do I maximize this effort, right? So partner center is too hard. So we know that we have these challenges. There's no joke to it. And lastly, I think it's just like, Microsoft, please come up with a solution for us, because our customer base is not as big as your enterprise partners. So, something, Microsoft did a pivot, which is very difficult. Because you gotta remember, Microsoft is like the aircraft carrier, right? And we're the support ships. We're following them. And to turn the aircraft carrier, pretty difficult, right? To make a big change. But, okay, so this is what happened. They said, okay, look, we understand there's a lot of challenges. We understand it's hard to get these solutions. So we're gonna make an SMB path, and we're going to make an enterprise path. We're going to divvy up, because some of our partners swim in the $500 to $1 million or to $1,000 Azure deployments. but they're not being counted. So they said, okay, we're going to keep all the existing designations. So those 6 ones that you know about, we're going to keep those. But now we're going to have one path for enterprise, one path for SMB. Now, the enterprise path is what we are currently on today. We are currently on the enterprise path today, okay, right now. So I'll show you that. But now there's this new SMB path. So if you qualify for SMB, then your skilling requirements get lowered. Nice. Your customer attainment numbers get lowered. Your deployments and year-over-year growth numbers get lowered to allow you to attain it. So that's pretty cool. And then they're also saying the updates to deployments. Virtual machines were not counted in the past, but now you turn on a VM, that's 2 points out of your 10. It's great. Turn on 5 VMs. That's the easy one to get to. So skilling is the big thing, though. That's what we found the most. Adam, do you have that issue, getting skilling, getting certifications from your internals?
Yeah. So one of the biggest challenges was figuring out not only which path to take, and like my biggest challenge was I didn't want to spend a significant amount of time and energy on things that weren't going to benefit me and weren't going to count. And it was just you're making a lot of sense of what I've struggled with so far. So
okay. Yeah, and so you don't know, and you're like, well, yeah, you're all over the place on and what's going to return. What should I invest in, right, to return? So this should help you out. The skilling requirement is no joke because, you're going to have to get, for the Azure ones, 2 Azure admins and Azure MS expert, solution architect, and this. For security, it's a little bit different, but yeah, you still need to get them. And so we actually have an offer for all the attendees here. It's called Certification as a Service, where we have an offshore resource company that has over 500 advanced certifications in modern work, security, and Azure. So if you need a little bit of a bridge, now we use this as a bridge. This is not a full-time thing. We're hiring people offshore, 20 hours, maybe a month, right, to help us in the back-end stuff, but to also get that cert because it unlocks a ton of money. Okay, so we'll do the whole balances thing, kind of making sure that it makes sense for you. But if that's the case, it's very efficient way of getting that now, as opposed to waiting 6-12 months for your people to get it. Okay,
am I understanding correctly? We're outsourced. You're talking about outsourcing, basically just hiring somebody overseas to get the cert, to get the skilling on my behalf, effectively. All right.
Well, even quicker than that, we already have the people.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to do is figure out what you need, and then we'll align them with your certification or with your company. And now the thing to do is to use these people as back office. I wouldn't put them in front of the house, okay? But if they're an Azure solution or a data scientist, hey, they know a lot more about this stuff than you do, probably, right? So let's use them in the back of the house, right? Or security, administrator or something like that. They're going to help out. Plus the cost of them is probably a quarter of if we were to hire that person here in the US. I mean, not even that, right? Even maybe like a 10th, right? And we're using them part-time, but it unlocks all this extra benefits, this money starts to make sense. Okay. Especially if you're just like, oh gosh, my guys they're going to take 6 months to get it, right? And
how do I follow up with you on that for more info? Because now's not, I assume, not the time to dig in.
Yeah. We'll dig in. We'll set an appointment after this, and we'll go over these things for you, and then we'll make a warm introduction. We have no financial consideration to this. We found a bridge. That's what we did. Okay. All right. So now let's understand the levels of the partner attainment here at Microsoft now, because silver and gold are gone. So basically, one, you're a membership partner. And that means that you just signed up with Microsoft, got an MPN, you have now access to the learning portal. Okay, great, awesome. Partner success means you're a MAPS partner. We got the Microsoft Action Pack. We're aligned with a distributor, Ingram Synapse Tech Data Arrow, for example. And we are starting to potentially get our first small, teeny, itty bitty incentive from Microsoft. Now, the next level is solution partner designation. This is taking over for silver and gold. Okay, this is the next level, and this opens up MCI, Microsoft Commerce Incentives. Okay, this is where the start of the money is. But then the highest level is an advanced specialization or expert offering partner. That's our goal. Okay, because that unlocks everything. If we're going to work with Microsoft, if we're going to make this our main thing, let's get the money from them. Let's figure out what we need to do to be the highest attainment of it. And look, and the other thing too is, if Microsoft's not your manufacturer, that's fine. If Cisco's your manufacturer, be the number one at Cisco, right? Over, any other of the manufacturers. Like, don't waste time. Don't be just dip your toes in. Let's figure out how to maximize this. Okay, so that is the 4 areas. Okay, now let's understand some of the benefits. So if you get an Azure specialization, Microsoft is going to give you what are called individual use rights. And with Maps, we have 5 licenses we can use. You got $100 in credit. In a SPD, you get a lot of licenses. You get a lot of Azure credits. And I have a slide that gives you the specifics on that. So that's one. The second benefit is if we get an SPD, we raise our profile on the marketplace a little bit higher than everybody else. Okay, we do that. Now, the third benefit is utilization rate, really. Intrinsic benefit is we got to help our people do better what they do. Okay, and if they're trained up, we're in a good spot. Okay, with that being said, this is the start of the benefits that I want to just really explain. On the left-hand side is stuff that we would expect from any manufacturer, right? They're going to help you with some enablement and give you marketing stuff. Great. Okay. But on the right-hand side is where the money comes in. So if you have an SPD, you get what's called Microsoft Commerce Incentives. If you have an advanced specialization, now you get access to deployment funds. Okay, which means that, okay, your SOW is $25,000 in installation costs, right? If you have the advanced specialization, Microsoft may fund 80 to 100% of that. And then you can go back to your customer and say, hey, by the way, we're an advanced specialization part of Microsoft. Microsoft is invested in us. They want to invest in you. They're going to go ahead and pay for the installation costs. Like, what a better conversation to have when we have them do that, but also bounties and other money that I'm going to show you in just a second. But yeah, that's why I keep talking about this, right? Is how do we, and that's where the buckets of money really are. Now, okay, these are the benefits. If you get an Azure Solution Partner designation, you're going to get a $6,000 in Azure credits, so $500 a month. You're also going to get a Dynamics 365 access to D365, right, to do your sales. You also get 100 Microsoft 365 E3 licenses, and then 100 server licenses for on-prem for development. Now, careful here though, because if you're at the solutions or security solution partner designation, you would not get Azure credits, but you would get 100 M365 E5 licenses to run your business off of. Big difference there. So we don't have to pay for that, right? So couple differences and nuances, but that's where this goes. Okay, now let's get into the money, the dollars and cents. Okay, this is where we start making up our minds on what to focus on. Okay, so I'm going to use an example of an Azure Virtual Desktop deployment, right? And I'm going to give it a round number. I know you probably aren't doing this, but $100,000 on this deal. Let's just put that as a round number. It's easy to calculate the things. Okay, so Microsoft says, look, if you have the solution partner designation in Azure, we're going to give you 4% plus 2% accelerator, so that's 6% on the back end, and then you're going to make your margin 15% on the front end, right? So if you think about it, right, you get 15% from Ingram, great, on Azure, and then you're getting on the back end 6%. Perfect. Okay, cool. But look to the right, because the right 2 columns are where what you get if you're an advanced specialization partner. Okay. One, you can now do threat assessments. So they'll give you $5,000 to $7,000 to do an assessment with your customer, and then they give you money for deployment funds, right? And in this case, they say, it's like a 10-to-1 ratio. So it's $100,000, you can probably get about 10 grand, right, to do the deployment, right? 100,000 ACR, they do kind of 10-to-1. That's kind of how the math works. But look to the right, the furthest to the right. In this scenario, if you had the advanced specialization, now they'll pay you 9 grand to say, thank you very much. Thanks for bringing this one customer. I'm going to give you $9,000 for bringing that. Congratulations. And then they say, well, for that first year ACR, maybe we said 100 grand, they're going to give you 30% of that on the back end. Okay, so now how does this calculate in actual dollars? Okay, look at this. First year incentives for getting the SPD is $21,000, right? 4 plus 2 and the 15%, 21 grand on a 100 grand deal. Look to the right. So we get migration money if we had the advanced specialization. We get a threat assessment, solution assessment. We get about 5,000 there, right? And then AMMPL means Azure migration, partner-led PL, right? So you're doing it, right? And they're saying, well, we're going to give you 15K for that. So a total of 20,000. Then they give you $9,000 for the bounty, and then $30,000 on this $100,000 deal in your back-end incentives. Okay, so if you look at that, and the cool thing here is you can stack these two. Okay, so you're making a total of about 81,000 on this $100,000 deal, but you're stacking the MCI incentives for having the solution partner designation, and then for advanced specialization, you get all this extra money. That's where the buckets of money is located, and that's why I keep talking about this. Hey, dude, let's get the advanced one, man. It's not just wait on. I'd rather get 81 than 21, right? And what do we have to do now? Now the balances. Now, okay, what do we invest? How much time? This makes sense now. Now that's in 100,000. So look, we can bring that down a little bit, right? Like, okay, in reality, are we selling $5,000 VDI deals? Probably better, more suited, right? That's 60 grand, but the numbers don't, it's just percentages. Okay. All right. Now let's figure out how do we score? Okay, because remember this new SMB path. So the main thing is we get a minimum of 70 points we have to get total to get these to actually be qualified to buy the solution partner designation. You have to score in 3 different buckets. So we have to get money. We have to get points in performance, points in skilling, and points in customer success. Now, one of the main issues that we've seen today is the skilling requirement, because in the skilling requirement, we have to get all of the certs before the points actually start accruing. So we can have 30 in performance and 30 in customer success at 60, but because we don't have 5 unique individuals, but we have 4, we got the skilling requirement, we get no points. It's really frustrating, right? It's frustrating. So that's why this path is so special, because now it allows you to get points without getting all that. Okay, so this is a nuance, and the thumbs up for just say good to go, Adam. Nuance here. Okay, so if you're looking at, I want you to look at the second column, which is the data and AI one. Okay, the reason I'm calling this out is this says these are the maximum number of points, 30, 40, and then last year 30. But currently on the enterprise path that we're in today, you have to have 4 people, 2 that have Azure Admin and 2 that have Azure Solution Architect. All 4 people have to get that cert in order to get any points. That's kind of a pain in the ass.
I need to find this slide first, because I can't really see it over your shoulder well.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, here we go. Nope. There we go. Okay, sorry. Okay, yeah. Now, if we look at the second column, right? Solution, the second one, solution, data and AI, right? We see there it says intermediate certs, right? But there's 4 that you have to get. If we only have 3 people that score, and we're still waiting for the 4th, we still have 0 points. That's the nuance here. But then if you look to the right, look to the middle column, that's the apps and innovation, right? Or even infrastructure. There's 2 different types of certs. There's intermediate and advanced. So currently the way it goes is you have to get your intermediate certs first, and then get at least 1 advanced cert for any points to accrue. Okay. And this has been the big challenge, is because people are like, well, I've got these, but I don't have that. You're not giving me any points. I can't figure this out. I can't seem to get my points to score. Okay. That's been the big problem. Now it changes with our requirements for performance. Okay. So this is automatically going to happen. Hopefully July 1st, might be July 15th, but it's July 1st is the target. Okay. So Microsoft is going to automatically go into your customer base and look at your trailing 12 months. Okay. Trailing 12 months, and say, how many net new customer adds did you bring in the trailing 12 months? So I'm going to automatically look at that. And then they're going to divvy it up into 2 different sections. They're going to say, if 80% of your customers are $1,000 or less, between 500 and 1,000, you're automatically going to be pushed into the SMB path. Now, if 80% of those net customer adds are $1,000 or more in Azure consumer revenue, you're going to be in the enterprise path. Okay, so the delineation really comes down to, hey, we're going to start scoring for smaller customers, 500 to 1,000. Okay, and you always throw out the top 1 or 2, right? Because it's 80%. Okay, now currently, okay, we are all on the enterprise path right now. Okay, January 1st or July 1st, that changes. Now, you don't have to do anything. This automatically can be scored, and then say, okay, here's the paths. This is what you score in this path. This is what you score in that path. You decide what you want to do. Okay, and then you click on like, okay, that's what I want to get. Okay, so that is the important piece. Is that clear, or any questions on that?
That's good.
Okay, cool. All right. So this is the scaling. Okay, now this is a better one actually to explain on here. Okay, so remember, look in the bottom left-hand corner. That is the enterprise path. Okay, so to tell you that on the enterprise path, we have to have 2 Azure admin associates and 2 Azure solution architects. Okay, so that's 4 unique individuals. Then, and that would be 4 points per individual that gets a test, right? So that would be 16 points, right, to get those. But then Microsoft says in the current situation, you also have to get at least 1 person that does one of those scoring certifications. Okay, so we need to have 5 unique certs, okay, to then be able to qualify for the enterprise path. Now, remember, Microsoft is also, okay, well, we have a new SMB path, right? So they said, okay, look, check this out. We're going to lower the bar a little bit for you. So on the SMB path, all you have to have is 1 Azure admin associate and 1 Azure solution architect expert and 1 scoring cert. So went from 5 to 3, okay? But then also in enterprise, you don't get many points for the intermediates, right? But in the SMB path, they're saying, hey, we'll let you start scoring points as soon as somebody gets that cert. We'll give you 4, give you 8, give you 12. We're trying to help you get there. We're not trying to be too hard on this. We're trying to help you get there. That is the difference between enterprise and SMB path. Make sense, Adam?
My head's, the wheels are starting to come off, but I mean, that last piece, yeah, the bar is lower, the requirements are less for the SMB path.
Yeah.
It's the prerequisites and then the scoring metrics and these other components that I don't really have a solid basis to understand what they are. This is where I would get lost and frustrated talking to my Ingram rep, because it seemed like every single time they would be like, this is all you need to know, right, to answer your question. But then there were prerequisites and other components that basically were their own entire onion that I had to digest in and of itself just to understand what we're even talking about. So,
so Azure admin, just I'll break it down, and then let me know if Azure admin, Azure solution architect. I think that's why they're saying that is like, okay, those are the basics. Like you need to have basic understanding of Azure. Okay,
right off the bat, right there, are those skilling courses? Are those paths? Are those like I have to complete, 1 course to achieve that, or 15 courses to achieve that, and what is it? I don't.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to do this. So the first thing that you have to pass is what's called AZ900. Okay, AZ900. That's Azure Fundamentals. Okay, so anyone in your group has to do AZ900. Okay. Hey, Phil, can you look up Azure admin, the certification number for Azure admin, and then the cert for Azure Solution Architect, please? Can you please get those links, Phil, and then put them in the chat window? Okay, so AZ900 are the fundamentals. Okay, and that's frankly, that's just definitions. Okay, understanding like what we're talking about. Okay, so that you can pass in 2 to 3 weeks of just cards. Understand definitions. Then you get the Azure admin. So there's a learning path at Microsoft for Azure administrator. Now, the learning path probably takes about 2 weeks to go through the learning path if you did 1 hour a day. That's kind of how I've done it in the past. And then what I would suggest is go to Udemy and they download practice tests for Azure admin. Okay. How I looked at it is if I took 2 practice tests a day in my 3rd week, and then my 4th week, I'm taking 4 practice tests a day because I'm just getting good at it. By the end of the month, I can pass the Azure admin like that.
What was the name of the resource you mentioned where you could get the practice tests?
Udemy. Udemy.
EMI?
Yeah, actually, UDMY, I think. Phil, are you there? Or maybe Phil went on a bio break or something. He'll come back.
Can you kind of discern just from my questions, like how gets overwhelming real quick if I don't understand the prerequisites, what we're even talking about, let alone, and each prerequisite in and of itself, like what you just threw at me is like, okay, that's really helpful. I need to take this course. I need these definitions. This is how long it's going to take. That's what I'm missing. Because up to this point, and so everything that you're talking about on top of that, I can't possibly comprehend.
I thank you so much. And actually, this is the first time that somebody's actually brought this to my attention. And I got 3 weeks left of this. So the rest of the folks are going to get this good information. The ones that came to the list, I made the assumption. Yeah, I made this assumption that you knew that. Okay. Yeah, Phil, are you there, bud? Okay. Can you look up Azure's? I need Azure administrator course name for Microsoft. So it's not AZ900 is fundamentals. We need the course and the link to that course for Microsoft, and then the Azure Solution Architect link on learning portal. Can you grab those and put them in the chat window? Awesome. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So you got to get the fundamentals first. Okay. There's also for your security practice, I think it's MS900, which is security fundamentals. Okay. We need to get all of your technicians and all of your sellers to get fundamentals. If you have any exterior salespeople, sales executives, I would tell them that they have to get it, the fundamentals, the next 30 days, or their employment at the company is less than guaranteed. Okay. Why? I want them to be able to do discovery appointments on their own. I don't want them to always bring in your technical resources to do it. And shit, if they're selling the product, they need to know what it is. I mean, come on, right? Okay, so fundamentals first. Now, after you get fundamentals, then you get access to be able to take the next course, which is Azure Admin or Azure Solution Architect. Okay, now that is another, I would say, 2-week course for each one of those through the learning portal at Microsoft. And I think it's similar to how I prepare for fundamentals is you go into Udemy and getting practice tests. However, for Azure Admin and Azure Solution Architect, it's not just answering the questions, the multiple choice questions. There's actually, here's a scenario. This customer has X, Y, and Z. Okay, how would you approach that from an Azure Admin perspective? This is how I do it, right? Or, hey, this is a situation. How would you architect this? What are the solutions? So fundamentals is just multiple choice all the way down. These next ones are different. What is that? Hold on, let me pull that up. Oh, that's a cool one. Oh, that is a great. Okay. Tells you what they are. Okay, so if I'm looking at it's an eye test. Okay, Azure Fundamental, Azure, okay, here we go. So Azure Administrative Associate. Okay, I got the link for you specifically. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, boom. Okay, there you go. That is the link to learn at Microsoft for Azure Admin Associate. Okay, and then the link to AZ305. Okay, this is to, I'm putting the chat window for you for the solution architect. Okay.
So the first link for the admin, Azure Admin Associate.
Okay.
That is, I don't see what the course is called. Is that the AZ104?
Yep, AZ104.
All right, so Azure Admin. So okay. I have several questions already.
Sure.
The first link that was provided looks to be like a learning path for a course, and the second link is a test.
Okay, so look at my screen.
Is there a learning path for the admin also, or you gave me a learning path for the admin, but then just a test for the architect? Like, sorry.
Oh no, here you go. Okay, so what I did, look at my screen real quick. When I'm in that one that shows all the different paths, I just clicked into Azure Solution Architect, and that brought me to certification details, and then you go down to self-paced. So these are the learning paths. If you look at okay, and then you go through those and you just add those, and then you start it, and then your people just kind of go through the learning path. I would do like one a day, like one area a day to go for it. So that's what it is. But you can't get into this until you have the fundamentals.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, see this one up here, upper left-hand corner of that thing says Azure Fundamentals. You have to start here, go through this learning path, just same thing as before. The funnel, I have continued courses. I was in this long time ago, and then take the practice assessment, launch the sandbox, and then take the exam. Okay. Then like, okay, then click into here. So you can give this is probably the best link to give any of your technical folks.
And then, so next layer out question, like I still have a lot to digest on this so far, but between the different, what would you call these paths? Infrastructure, and AI, those are different paths across the top. So obviously the security piece, for obvious reasons, is something that I should look at, but what's the low hanging fruit? What aside from that should I be? It's the infrastructure path, the modern work path. Those seem to be, I know the focus of today is mostly on Azure, but my practice is, Microsoft 365 SKUs, and obviously we're getting into AVD and some virtual servers in Azure and stuff along those lines. So are those the two or now three paths, and how do I even prioritize between those?
Okay, that's a good question. That's a great question though. So I think this is the thing. I think we look at a 12-month. Let's look at 12 months out. Okay, and we say, okay, yeah, we need to have security, modern work, and infrastructure. Those are the three that all I want you to focus on. App innovation, data and AI, that is, I think, advanced. Infrastructure is the base. Migrating, migrating workloads, right? It's the base. So now, I would also look at security is your main component, right? So I think security, frankly, is your number one. I think is your number one. Now, then we just need to figure out, and this is what we have a mapping exercise to kind of figure out where you're at. And I'm going to actually, when we open your partner center, I'm going to see if you have any points anywhere. And that's usually another way to say, okay, well, we're closer here, so let's put our effort to get that one, knock it out, right? And then we go over here to get that out. So I would say security is your number one, because that's really what you're going to market with. That's who you are. It's what you're kind of known for. VDI falls under infrastructure. So that tells you there, but then modern work also is super important, because that's all your Office 365 stuff. That's easier to attain.
Did I hear correctly that infrastructure should be the first, or was that or not?
No, I think security should be your first.
Okay.
Just in the 5 minutes of hearing about your introduction and kind of what you're focusing on, frankly, I think it's security. And then the toss-up is, where are we closer, modern work or infrastructure? We still need to have, I think, a plan in place that we're methodically trying to get to those, especially if we know, okay, hey, to get infrastructure, all I need to do is get fundamentals and get 2 Azure admins, or 1 Azure admin, 1 Azure expert, or a solution architect, and 1 scoring cert. Like, put that on the board. Okay, who's going to get this? Who's taking this one on? This next 6 months, right? Raise your hands on technical folks. Okay, we got to get it, guys. Ladies and gentlemen. So that's how I would do it. But security, because of what you're doing, and then also be able to do threat assessments and solution assessments and these kinds of things, get extra money. Yeah, man, I'd go that way. Also, memories at 22, because this is the first piece. Then the next one is we have to get 2 more certifications to get the advanced one. Okay, but this is where our focus is. Does that help with the?
I think I'm better off than I was 10 minutes ago, but I still
Okay.
a lot of questions in my mind. But
no, keep going. Yeah, this is what this is for. Frankly, this is, we could spend an hour here, and this would be like, okay, that was good time spent, because I got to clear it up. I want you to leave here like, got it. Okay, so what other questions do you have?
I guess just so I can kind of you mentioned that at 1 hour a day, about 2 weeks to complete some of the learning paths. That is specifically where you're referring to the entire. You were just referring to like the AZ 900 in that example for 2 weeks. So I mean, is it fair to say that? Probably not. The 104 is going to go should take the same time frame. Like, what's the whole path expectation wise? Is that what you were saying? 6 to 8 months for just a path?
No. Well, okay, so that's really dependent. The length of time is really dependent on how good your people are internally. Like, I don't know who your technical folks are, but do they already have a pretty good grasp on Azure? Do they have a pretty good grasp on, architecting? Do they know the concepts behind it, not just the fundamentals, which is just the definitions? So
let's say no.
Okay. In that case, okay, it's going to take 4 weeks to get Azure fundamentals. Okay. That's 2 weeks of the learning path, 1 hour a day. And then the last 2 weeks would be just taking tests every day. Okay. And you tell the learning path for that, I would say, or excuse me, the not learning path, but the outline for attaining that should be first 2 weeks of the learning path, going back to the portal. 1 hour, we understand, we're reading it. Okay, this concept about resource groups, we understand what a resource group is. Okay, we understand what a network security group is. Great, we get it, we read it, we consumed it, we've got it in here. Week 3 comes around. As you finish that, I would say, okay, tell your technical folks, I want you to take 2 practice tests a day, and you get that through Udemy. Okay. Now they're testing. Now they're starting to understand it, right? Okay. Then you say, okay, in week 4, I want you to move the 2 to either 3 or 4 tests. Maybe you're doing 3 on week 4. Okay. And then you're saying, okay, we're going to extend this. Week 5, I want you to take 3 practice tests a day. Because by doing that, okay, it's just we're conditioning ourselves to answer these things correctly, right? And we're understanding how they're asking these questions so that we can comprehend it, right? And so I would say, from a fresh new person who doesn't know anything, 4 weeks to do Azure fundamentals, an additional 5 to 6 weeks to get the Azure admin or Azure solution architect.
Okay. Now, one of the things that's a challenge for me that has been a problem from day one with this entire Microsoft skilling problem is how long. I mean, I don't have a huge staff. I cannot take any one of my techs and have them spend 6 hours a day doing practice tests every day for 3 weeks. I can't. I don't have that bandwidth. So this is where I have hit a wall so many times, where it was like the requirements were still, I understand they're lowering the bar for the SMB path, still out of reach for me, based on my understanding so far. And this is just scratching the surface. So yeah, how long would a Udemy, 1 practice test take, just so I have a sense of how much time we're talking about on a daily, if you're talking about 2 or 3 practice exams a day? for
I,
multiple texts that I don't have, like.
yeah, I'm a bit of an outlier. I mean, I'm doing 54-hour sessions in two months. Like, okay, so I'm a bit of an outlier the way I think, of
But
this.
this is what you're doing entirely with your time. You don't have another full-time job that you also, I mean, you probably do, but but my text, like, you understand how a help desk runs. I can't take these guys away from my customers.
No, those are billable hours, right? This is money that you've got fixed in there. Okay, so I would look at it as, for fundamentals, each practice test should take about in the first week that you're doing it, like these practice tests, I would say about an hour each test. Okay. I think in week 4, they're taking like 30 to 45 minutes. You just get better at it. Like, you're just like, oh, I saw that one before. I saw that one before. The idea is to get them to just be like second nature. I saw that. Oh, bing, that's B. Oh, that's C. That's G. That's A, whatever. Right. Okay. For the solution architect one, or the Azure admin, I would put hour and a half. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So if you did 2 a day, that would be 3 hours out of your day. Okay, so that's a problem though, right? So what is the solution to that? Well, what I might want to do is tell your technicians, hey, I'm going to give you a management by objective, an MBO bonus. You might have to do this pre-work. Come in a half hour early, or do it during your lunch, or do it after work. But I'm going to give you $1,000 if you pass this, right? This test. That's a way, right, of trying to incentivize them. Okay, to go ahead and do it. Now, the other problem though too is utilization rate. Really comes down to, I think we need to go back and really start investigating on all their time. Because the investment will compound the rate of return that we get, right? If I can get that person to go from 5 hours to 1 hour, because now they know what they're doing, I'm investing now to pay off later, right? So that's this delicate balance. Okay, delicate balance. However, okay, now remember our certification as a service, right? We can actually say, okay, well, if you want to pay for 30 or 40 hours a month, okay, we can get all the people you need certified. Then now you have a 1-year bridge for your current internals. Maybe they're not going to do it in this accelerated window I'm talking about. Maybe now you're saying, okay, look, I want you to focus on this. You got 60 days to do this one. You got 90 days to do this one. But this is really important, and this is this is based on your job here. We need to get better at this and go focus. The other thing too is we need to help our technical folks to stop focusing on a lot of the things that aren't making money, or just time sucks, right? Or working with or suggesting or working with technology that really doesn't make us any money, right? Implementing stuff. So I think there's a lot of wastage there, and that's a quick way to increase profitability. Is like, let's figure out what they're doing. And your technical folks, they're above reproach. Okay, I don't believe in our industry, our technical folks, when they say they're busy, they're busy. They're not saying, oh, I'm not busy, and then watching YouTube, right? They're busy. It's just pretty easy to track them. It's the sales guys, I don't know, are they busy really? Are they just eating 2 martini lunches, promising everybody everything, right? Okay, we'll go to that one later. But yeah, this is kind of a delicate balancing act, right, to do that. So investing for tomorrow may not be the bad idea, but then also using our certification as a service to then unlock these funds to get that. And I'll give you an example. The company we work with is called Aleph. It's just a wonderful organization. And you know what they're doing now is they're saying, okay, look, you bring on their certified people, but the first thing that they do is figure out what solution assessment they can help you get from Microsoft, because you have that, and then they help you run that solution assessment so that you're getting money back like right away, right? We're getting a $7,000 investment from Microsoft because we had the solution partner designation. So not only going to attach, they're going to help you with, okay, how do we find some money to unlock it?
Let me circle back just real quick now that we have a little bit more context on the what is required for the advanced.
Okay.
Because I'm not expecting to have advanced tomorrow. If there's 22 people in the world that have it, like how like it's not something that obviously I'm going to have next week or next year. But what is required? What are the basics? Just high level.
Okay, so I can show you that in our Partner Center walkthrough. I'll show you that specifically, and maybe we'll just do that on the very first thing, and we'll do that after the break. But I'll put in there, okay, what are requirements for advanced? Because I'm going to show you an area where you can quickly look at that and then know what we have to do for security. Okay. To get, I can kind of give you just a general explanation right now. An advanced specialization, first and foremost, you have to have a certain number of licenses sold. Okay, so for like security, they may have to say, okay, well, you need to have, I don't know the exact number right now, but they say, well, you need to have 300 M365 E3 or E5 deployments in the trailing 12 months. That could be like one of the requirements, okay? Which shows competency in doing that, right? The second thing is you have to show that you use this thing called the Cloud Adoption Framework for your implementations. Do you know what that is, the CAF?
No.
Okay, this is great news because I'm going to start you down the right path. Phil, can you get the link for CAF and put that in there, please? Cloud Adoption Framework is how Microsoft says you should do a deployment. So they have their whole documentation process. We start with an assessment, then we have a landing zone, then it's their methodology of documenting, okay, and implementing. Okay, now, if you're not using this right now, I would suggest that you give this to all your technical folks and say, team, I know we have our run books currently. What we need to start doing is morphing those run books into the Cloud Adoption Framework run book. Okay, now the purpose of this is Microsoft only provides an advanced specialization to organizations that use Cloud Adoption Framework for all of their deployments. This is their way of being able to say, hey, if I call this partner up and I've got a big Sentinel deployment, they know what to do and how to do it. And if I ask them for documentation, they'll be able to give it to me like that. And now I can trust the partner who knows what they're doing. Now, your current run books or implementation, I bet you are probably in some respects better than some of the stuff in the CAF lab, in the CAF framework. But you know something? It's a box checker. We're just saying, yeah, we get it. Okay, so if you understand that, part of getting an advanced specialization is you have to do an audit, okay, on 2 customers that you've done a deployment for. Okay, and they're going to say, hey, in the last 6 months, give me the CAF framework for those 2 customers. We're going to audit it. How did you do? Okay, and then you say, we did great, blah, blah, here's the customer reference number, blah, blah, blah. Here you go. They do an audit. They're like, yeah, you followed the methodology. Thank you. Awesome. Now you're eligible for the advanced specialization to buy that. And that is with the Valhalla moment, because holy Moses, now we've gotten it. Now we've gotten through. So there's an audit component. There's additional skilling requirements of different certifications. So more than just that one scoring, it's a little bit higher. And then there is a component for total attainment. How many licenses have you sold in security? Or I think for Azure, it was...
So needless to say, it's a little bit ambitious for me to be thinking about that if I don't know what a prerequisite is for the 101. And there are 22 people in the world that have this.
Ambitious, or would you say you are a visionary?
Nice read from him.
and that's the response I want you to tell your technical folks when they say, Adam, I think you're a little ambitious. You're like, am I ambitious or am I a visionary here? Okay. But yeah, I mean, but this is the thing is now I have a target. Okay, we have a target for 12 months down the road. Okay, this is all we're focusing on, everybody. We're going to align with this. I know there's some crazy steps that just seem like, but we're going to do this because I see where the benefits are, and overall, it's going to help our organization. I don't think that it's ambitious for you to say I'm going to get this in the next 12 months. I don't think so. I think if we focus, we can create an engagement with you, to do a touch point with you, to make sure that you're, on track, for that over the year. That's what we do, actually. That's our whole thing, is making sure people get to this and give them the guidance. However, I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't. If you're already selling M365, you're selling security SKUs, you're already getting attainment for that stuff, right? Or you're selling a little bit of video.
I'm not selling a whole lot of security SKUs through Microsoft. So this whole path, I have a tool set that's, as far as the security stack goes, it's outside of Microsoft currently.
Oh, okay. Well, that changes. Okay, that changes what we're talking about then today. Okay. If that's the case, and you're really on that path, like that's your decision too. I'm not here to sway those decisions which way or the other. Then, if I were you, I would focus on modern work and infrastructure.
I'm very interested in keeping tabs and being aware of what Microsoft is doing on the security space, because it wouldn't it seems logical to me that they're gonna, take that market by storm. Why not? Integrate everything. So yeah, maybe they already have the components. They're just not in the circles that I'm in. I don't hear people pushing the Microsoft security SKUs. Yeah.
So you'd be surprised. It's really big. All the partners I work with, a lot of them are pushing this. So you have to think about this too. Is Microsoft is the #2 tech organization behind the U.S. government in the world. Okay, so and what I didn't know until I took a tour of their NOC, or security operation, their SOC, not NOC. They provide all the updates to all of the 99% of security companies around the world. So Palo Alto's come to them, McAfee, Norton, everyone comes to them for the updates on the latest stuff, because they're getting most attacked. They're putting it into the cloud. They use data and AI to search every line of communication that comes in and compare it to known threats, which no other company has the most updated. Okay, so the way I look at it is, would be a good idea to really keep on the pulse, because it also works. There's really no integration issues. Like, you turn it on and it works with everything, what you do. But there's other things too, right? I don't want to lose Palo Alto, right? And then there's a lot of other ones. Which ones we focus on, right? Gotta be careful. But the other thing too, though, is because we're talking about like this, now you don't have to focus on anything else. Your guys come to you and say, hey, I heard about this program from Microsoft. And you say, hey guys, stay the course. We're just doing this. Let's stop this madness. You got to do this one. You got to do that one. You got to do that one. That's it. Let me take care of the business side. We'll get the numbers up here, but that's what we need to focus on. And by the way, guys, you'll get better at what you do.
Very good. All right, let's move on. Sorry for the sidetrack.
No, but this is good. Actually, I'm glad we went through this. So we have that. Okay, let's go to the next slide here. That one is let's see. Let me go auto. Okay. Requirements for customer success. So this is actually pretty easy. On the deployment side, remember we said if you turn on a VM, you get 2 points. So your maximum points is 10 on deployments. That didn't used to be the case. And then usage growth. This is actually a big miscommunication. There is a idea that you have to have 20% year-over-year growth to maintain the status, right? For usage growth. Misnomer. It's actually, you have to have a minimum of 1%. Okay, because you get 1 point for every percentage growth. And if you think about it, if you have a $500 Azure user and they go to $600, you hit a 20%, right? We're 550, it's lower than some of these bigger ones. So I don't really see that as a big problem. The only problem with that is it's trailing 12 months. So if you lose or gain a customer or lose a couple customers, or you have a few customers that all of a sudden drop their Azure spend significantly, then you're kind of fighting this quicksand a little bit. And there's some cases where we actually disassociate any connection with a customer because they've killed my usage growth by reducing their spend by like 80%. And you're just like, you just killed me. So sometimes we're like, okay, thank you. We're just going to disassociate. So Microsoft doesn't know that we're associated with you. Okay, you're killing me, right? So there's some guidance in that. Okay. So the next thing here, last thing to understand here, it's pretty simple. Is if you have under $1 million in Azure consumer revenue over the trailing 12 months, and 80% of your customers are between 500 and 1,000, you'll then get put into the enterprise path. Excuse me, the SMB path. SMB path. Anything above it, if you got more than $1 million, all your customers are $1,000 and above, you're automatically put into the enterprise path where we are today. Fair enough? Cool.
Got that.
Okay. Let's go. These last two slides, I'm not going to go into these because this is just you can print these up. This is the reason why I have them. Print them, put them into your break room, give them to your technical folks, letting them know that, hey, we are focusing on one of these solutions. These are our requirements to get there. And then after we find out on July 1st, you can circle one of them, right? You'd be like, okay, we're going to do SMB path. Okay, guys, this is what we have to focus on. Okay, and keep aware of what we're doing. So that is really that one. That one's okay. That program already just started. It's already halfway through. So that's pretty much the SMB path. Okay. I'm going to pause here. Now, Alicia and Tram's on hold. Alicia, do you have any questions? You can come to the chat window. Want to make sure that you're heard here. If you have any questions, come to the chat window and ask me. Or Adam, anything else that you want me to cover?
I'm okay for now. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Why don't we take a little break? And then we'll do Partner Center, which will blow you guys away. It's 9:37. How about we take 10 minutes? We've been in this for an hour and a half. So 48 minutes past the hour. We'll come back. Cool.
In a bit.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Talk to you guys soon. All right, we are back. Okay, now this is the part that everyone loves. We've had such great feedback for this part. This is the Partner Center walkthrough. Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen here. If you can do me a favor, log into partner.microsoft.com and go into Partner Center. Okay. And when we're in Partner Center, are you good? Okay, awesome. Okay, so actually, one thing before we start Partner Center, go to your desktop, and I want you to create a folder right now that says Microsoft Audit June 2024. Okay, we're going to create a folder there because what we want to do here in Partner Center is we're going to do our every 6 months we're going to do this. Okay, this is a motion, and what we want to do is making sure that we're keeping everyone honest here. We find typically 6 to 8% of your customers are listed with your distributor, but are not listed inside of your Partner Center. There's just some breakage. It happens. It's no potential reason or particular reason behind it, but it just happens. So we want to create a folder there because we're going to download 5 reports today on this walkthrough that will then help us with making sure we're getting a proper attainment. Okay, after that, we're back in Partner Center. Okay, so the first thing I want everyone to click on, go ahead and click on Benefits. Okay, so we'll click into Benefits. You should have access to all of these buttons. If you don't see these buttons, because you don't have access to some of these buttons, and I can help you with. Do you have access? Do you see all those buttons that I showed you, Adam? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're in. So the first thing we want to look at is partner benefit, marketing benefits. So it's going to come here. If you scroll down to the bottom, these are some givens, right? You get digital marketing content. We can go in here and get partner marketing center. A lot of really great stuff. However, be careful because this is product marketing, and that's not really marketing. Okay. Microsoft already spends billions of dollars on their product marketing. But if you need some stuff here, not a bad idea. Okay, also, go to the upper left-hand corner, it says Azure Credits. Click on that. And you're a Maps partner, so you have, right here, you should say $100 a month. It should be on your screen. That's what you're getting. Now, when you get the solution partner designation for Azure, it'll then say $500 a month because that's your $6,000 credit. Okay, but then also, just a quick thing, if you click into software, this is where you go to find the software that you have access to right now. So for us, we all have these things right here that we can take advantage of any one of these things, and we can activate. We get 10.
I even let Maps has lapsed on me, so I have nothing right now.
Wait, what? I'm sorry, say again?
My action pack has lapsed, so I apparently didn't renew last time, so I currently have no benefits.
Okay, we're gonna get that fixed. Okay, we'll get that fixed. All right, so let's go back to home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now what I want us to do now is when we get back to home, is I want to click on customers. So click into your customers. Okay. Now the first thing we're going to do here is going to give you a list of all the customers that are supposedly yours or that you have in here. What we're going to do, our first report is export. Okay, go to export, click on that. It's going to give us an export of all of our customers. We'll take that and put that into a Microsoft Audit folder. Okay, that's the first thing. Our second report that we're going to do is actually going to call Ingram up after this session. And you can go to your partner portal for Ingram and download your customer list, or you can call them up and say, hey, send me my customer list. I don't know your relationship with them, but get that and put that into your audit folder because that's actually the gold standard. Okay, that's what it is the gold standard from what we have. Okay, so that's your second report. Okay, now the other thing to notice in here, see under the customer list on the upper left hand says administer. Okay, this is for GDAP, granular delegated access permissions for Azure environments that you're working in for your customer. So let's say you have a customer, ABC Manufacturing, you're doing the Azure work. Microsoft says, hey, we're only going to give you granular access to the Azure portal. You need to make sure that you send this to your customers to get access. Okay. This also is an area that if you don't have GDAP, you may not get the attribution for that customer you're working with. And that's important. That's what we're really talking about today is how do we make sure we're getting all the attribution, all the stuff we're working on is coming back and you're giving us incentives or giving us credit to get our solution partners or advanced specialization. So that's what we do here. These are the two important buttons inside of here. Now go back to home. Okay, and then we want to go into earnings. Okay, click into earnings. Okay, now I'm a French fry and I don't have any customers, so you're going to see me at 0 earnings. Okay, now I'm praying that you have more than 0, Adam, in here. Zeros.
55 customers under the GDAP, $0.
Oh, okay. So let's go down to the bottom. See where it says earning distributions and trends? Okay. When you see this, so scroll down a little bit. Ernie, do you have any here that says unprocessed funds, or does it say ineligible funds? Under by payment status.
Earnings, distribution, and trends. I'm sorry, by
Payment status?
status, no data.
Oh my gosh, we're not getting any credit for any of this stuff. Okay, we've got some.
Is this because I yelled at my Ingram people? Okay.
No, it's just, well, the maps expired, and then on top of that, yeah, we're not eligible for anything. So, but there should be definitely earnings from what you sold on there. So this will be part of us uncovering after this call. Like, you and I will sit down and we'll talk with my team and try to unpack this all. But yeah, this is where the first part of it goes. But we don't have any, but that's okay. We will fix this. So this is the other report. It's kind of a moot point here. But if you go to earnings reports, after we get it fixed, we'll create a new report by default. Okay, and we'll put that into our audit folder. Today, right now, let's not do that because it's kind of a moot point. We need to unpack a few other things first to figure that out. But we want to do that as every 6 months, then cross compare. Okay. Let's go over to home, and then what I want you to do now, the most important area of this whole thing is incentives. Click on incentives. Okay, so now this will be important to understand. Okay, so in incentives overview, the very first thing, it's going to come up and tell you all the incentive programs that you either are enrolled in or not. So when you scroll down, Adam, do you see where it says Microsoft Commerce Incentives on your screen? Are you enrolled? Are you enrolled in that? Okay. Are there any other programs in there that say you can enroll or that you're not eligible for or you're eligible for? Anything on your screen?
2 discontinued, 2 inactives, and 2 enrolled.
Okay. The inactives, which ones are those? Which ones do those say?
OSU Business Applications and OSU Microsoft 365.
Okay. The OSU one, can you enroll in that? I'm wondering.
If I click on it, it just brings me back to the earnings page.
Okay, that might be deprecated. That's another note. Hey, Phil, can you take some notes for Adam so that we can make sure we talk to him about it? It's going to be under the incentive programs. We want to make sure that we touch on that. Okay.
I do not, well, so you wouldn't expect me to have, or what am I looking for here? Microsoft Commerce Incentives, that piece I do have.
Okay, well, that's going to be our number one. That's the main one. OSU was based on, I remember that being really based on business applications, and that may have been deprecated already. So
the other one is the OSU Microsoft 365 that's also inactive. That seems like something that I'm probably using.
Bill, can you look up OSU Microsoft 365 incentive to see if that program was deprecated, please? Can you just quickly look that up and let me know what you find on the Partner Center?
When I click Program Guide, it says can't find the page you're looking for. So that's probably
it probably is. Probably an indicator. Okay. So our next step, though, is so here's this co-op management. Click on the co-op management. Now, this is where we go to ask for our funds back. So it's not relevant today, but it may be relevant in about 2 months after we get everything figured out. You're going to go here, and then you're going to create a claim. So we'll do the exercise right now. Go ahead and create a claim.
Yep.
Okay. Now it says select a program. It's going to be Microsoft Commerce Incentives. Select a fund category. It's always going to be default non-Surface funds. The only other things are Surface funds. You're not a Surface reseller, so leave that alone. Select a location. That's your main location. Select a usage period. So it should be just the 2024 to January to June. And then select the solution area for spending your funds. I would select modern work, security, and infrastructure. That'll give us the basis. Okay, that's like the foundational ones. And then you're going to push continue. Okay, now on my screen, you're probably going to see the same thing, error on your screen. It's going to say you have no funds available. Okay. When you do have funds available, it's going to say, oh, you can go to the next window. Okay, which then selects, do you have the same error? You have no funds to claim? Okay. So we have nothing right now. Okay. We're going to fix this thing. We're going to make him some money here. So we'll just cancel that one out to give us a toe. Okay. Now, what I want you to click on is MCI engagements, because this is going to be the new motion that every time, okay, before you create an SOW, statement of work, for any customer, or you have a customer that's about to do a renewal within about 3 months. Okay, I want you to create a new operational muscle here, where maybe even create a form that sends to whoever's managing the portal for you. And the form would basically say we have an opportunity. They want to have this many licenses. They want to have, you know, Azure security, some assessment, right? And then the person who's managing this is going to go to this area specifically and say, okay, what programs can I elect to turn on to make sure I get these incentives? It's just stackables. Okay, this is where the money is. This is where the buckets of money are. Okay, so if you look at my screen, and I think you might have the same thing, but I have 3 checkboxes, only 3. Okay, yeah, okay, perfect. Okay, so the first one, let's click on the Microsoft Customer Net New Add, Indirect Provider. Click on that one. Okay, now what we do is, okay, let's say we have a customer who wants to add net new M365 licenses. Okay, correct. Okay, we go here and it says, okay, there's an incentive that's provided to us if we sell a net new Microsoft 365 ad, right? Then it says, what is your eligibility? Okay, you have to have a partner agreement with the AI program. You have to have CSP indirect. You have a relationship, Ingram, great. Do you have to have a designation? No, this is just Maps partners, okay? Then it says, well, what do you get? So look at the incentive. The incentive says, well, you'll get 6% of billed revenue. Okay, cool. That's number 1. Got it. Okay, great. Now, okay, go back to MCI engagements, because our second thing is like, okay, let's say we had the security solutions partner designation. We had that, right? We got that one. Now we come here, we're like, okay, we know what we're going to get for the customer net ad, but let me scroll down to the very bottom. I want you to scroll down and you see where it says threat protection engagement? Okay, click on that. Okay. Now, what this is saying is, okay, it gives you a description. Okay, hey, Microsoft partner, if you run this threat protection engagement and you do a threat assessment, you conduct the vulnerabilities, and you run an attack simulation using the current M365, we're going to give you some money to do it. Okay, so they're saying, okay, so this is the activity requirements, but now it says partner qualification. You have to have a solution partner designation for security. Okay, now when you have that, it now opens it up to saying, okay, now the next qualification is a customer. Is a customer between 300 and 5,000 seats? It is? Great. Okay, now what can I get for it? Now the payout structure is, for the US based, it's $6,500 they will provide you to run this assessment. So an enterprising person like myself, and I think you too, Adam, is like, okay, if I get the solution partner designation, how many of my customers can I run a threat assessment on that I can get $7,000 for? Right? I get 3 or 4. I can nominate them through this portal here. I can go to customers and then I can nominate them and I can get the approval. And then I can go back to the customer. They'll get an email saying, hey, you've been nominated for this threat assessment. It's $7,000. We're going to pay your partner directly to run this for you. So cool, right? Okay, great. Now we have the incentive, the 6%, plus now we're getting some money to do a threat assessment. Cool. Okay, right? So let's go back. Let's go back to MCI engagements, because I want to give you the third piece. Okay, the third piece is, well, what if we have this customer wants M365, right? We're going to do a threat assessment, but they also have an Azure deployment. We're going to do Azure for them as well. So we go to the Azure bucket, okay? And when you click on the Azure bucket, if you scroll down, you're going to see, okay, AMPL. So if I go down to AMMPL small, okay, click on that one. That means Azure migration and modernization partner led. Okay, meaning that they're saying, hey, BTW, we'll give you some money to do the damn deployment. That's what it is. Okay, like, okay, so you're led, you're doing this, you're using the cloud adoption framework. Okay, activity requirements. The project size needs to be between 25 and 125,000 a year in Azure consumer revenue. Okay, so $2,500 a month, right? Yeah, 2,500 a month, about that, right? 2,500 a month in Azure. Okay, great. Now they say, well, what is your qualification? So you have to have the advanced specialization in database migration or Microsoft Azure. And then what will they give you? If you have that, then you can get this $15,000 from Microsoft. Okay, now all of these are stackable. So 15 plus the 7 plus whatever incentives, and depending on the actual, if it's a VDI, now you get your bounty and you get your back-end ACR, Azure Consumer Revenue portion, right? Your rebate on that. Sorry for the acronyms. But I want to show you this. Now go back to MCI engagements, because operationally, now what we want to do is anytime we have, once again, a new customer coming along or a potential renewal with the current customer base, we're going here to find out where we can, what we can grab, what we can do. Okay, so I would bookmark this for whoever's kind of like, maybe you have a lead that's on renewals or a lead that's on this, give them access to this because we want them to make sure that they're checking all these things. Okay, now, the not second to last one, but look at customer claims. I want you to kick on customer claims. Okay, so remember we did the audit, or we're doing the customers first, where we download the customers, right? And then we went to Ingram and we said, okay, we're going to download our customers that you have. And then we noticed when we do the matchup, wait a minute, 3 of my 10 customers are in Ingram, but they're not showing up here in Microsoft. Okay, that's not good.
I'm back. Was that me?
Oh, was it? No. All right. Did you freeze or did I freeze?
It disconnected me and then reconnected.
Oh, that's just the Teams.
I don't know if it was my end or not, but
the ghost in the machine. Hey, are you awake?
So,
right. Yeah, that was.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. You're fine. Yeah,
I still don't know if that was on my end or what, but it disconnected me, reconnected me. I seem to be okay now.
Okay, all right. Okay, customer claims, really important. Remember we said we have 10, but then we're missing 2 or 3. No problem. We go here, then we go to add customer. Click on add customer. Okay, and it's use or consume. These are very important delineations. You click on use and consume. Use means that you sold them through CSP. You're supposed to get the incentives, but for some reason, you're not. Okay, cool, no problem. You give it a name, right? ABC Manufacturing. Maybe that's the name of the company. Partner location, very simple. Customer tenant ID. So that's going to be, their number, right? For the ID for their thing, right? And then you go next. Okay. Then it's going to say associate the workload. And you say, oh, I sold them an M365 license, E3, click. Great. You enter the proof of execution documentation, which is the customer sent you an email saying, yes, I did agree to do that. As simple as that. Okay. DocuSign doesn't work. Neither does Adobe Sign for some reason. I don't know why, but an email saying, yes, I did. That's your proof of execution. Then it goes to contact information. Your customer will then get an email with a link that says, did you agree to this? And you click yes. And then all of a sudden, now that person who's not located will then go into your customers. And now you'll actually get the incentives and all the back-end residuals and compensations that you deserve. Okay, really, really important.
So in theory, all of my existing clients, I don't know what's going on with my current incentives, but this is a required step for each customer to get what exactly?
So it's to get customer partner of record. It's called CPOR. Okay, so for every customer we have, we want to get customer partner of record to show Microsoft we are the partner of record for every account that we're working on. Okay, that's the goal.
I'm sorry, but I feel like that happens already. When I check out from Ingram, I make that association there. Does that not pass through? I feel like these questions are coming from Microsoft on that workflow.
Okay, so you are absolutely correct. That is exactly how it's supposed to work. Okay, but we're finding 8 to 12% breakage.
Okay.
56,000 partners doing stuff. There's, you know how it goes. There's always a little breakage or something happens. This is another caveat too. If you sold a customer Office 365 E3 and you bumped them up to M365 E5 or E3, right? So you got the new SKU. Sometimes that associated workload doesn't get counted for some reason. There's a breakage there. So then you'll go back and be like, wait a minute. I looked at my customer list. I looked at what their products were. It only says Office 365 E3, but it doesn't say the new one. Okay, let me go back here. And this is where you do the associated workload. You're like, okay, let me attach the associated extra. Now, frankly, you should only be doing this 5 to 8% of your customer base. Okay, this is the way to stop opening up a trouble ticket that doesn't go anywhere. Okay, because you think about the people who are answering the trouble tickets are very linear thinking. Yes, no, yep, no, close it out. You're like, oh, whoa, you didn't read the whole damn thing. No, I'm still got the problem. This is the fix. Okay, stop the madness.
So how would I even know if I weren't getting credit for? I mean, we literally did a business premium to E3 upgrade for business standard to E3 for like 65 users. Like, how would I even know if I was getting? Well, I'm not getting any credit right now, so I guess it's kind of irrelevant at the moment. But
well, it is, but it isn't. It's irrelevant because you're not getting the money right now because of where you're at. But it's relevant because that's going to help us with getting that solution designation, right? So how would you know? Okay, that's part of the audit. Every 6 months, we do a customer list and we compare it. Wait, oh, we found 2. Okay, now we have to go in there and do that. We can do it. We can also sort that list in customers by workload. So we can just kind of do an easy comparison.
You give me a synonym for workload SKU, subscription.
Yes, SKU.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So they have the E3, but they don't have the E5.
Got it. All right.
Like, what's the deal? And I'm not trying here to scare you, but this is how we fix it. And that's the half the battle is like why and where we do this. So this is half the battle. It's really understanding this piece for getting that. So you're not going to have to do it very, very much. Okay, but I can't tell you how many partners I've worked with have opened up hundreds of trouble tickets trying to figure this out, giving it to Microsoft, but very linear thinking. These are level 100s that are, answering questions based on the run books. No, that makes sense. And they don't understand there's little issues. There's other issues. I tell you this, if you have multiple locations, I'll give you a scenario. We had one company here that had a US base and a Germany base, right? So they had two different geos. All of their partner solution designation certifications were in the US, okay? But they ran all their business through Germany, okay? They're their CSP in Germany. Now, Microsoft looked at their CSP in Germany and said, you don't have any solution partner designations. You don't have any certifications. You don't get any incentives. We found $162,000 in incentives that were just sitting there and not getting claimed because it was not attached to the right thing. And that's a problem in itself. Trying to get that figured out, it's like 5 months working to get it done. But that is a scenario, right? So I think in your situation, you won't have multiple locations, around the world, but it shouldn't be applicable to you. But those are little nuances to this damn shit that is frustrating. Okay, now that's current customers that you have a CSP relationship with that you should be getting some money from. Okay, there's another avenue. What if you are working with a partner who sold the licensing, but you're the company who's sold them or implementing all the security portions of the licensing, right? Or you're doing a project in Azure. And so you're like, hey, I'm not going to get any incentives, but I want credit for this workload that I'm helping, this SKU that I'm helping implement. Okay, so same place, we come to the same exact place, but the only difference is we check this little box here. It says, I claim for recognition only. And like to opt out of incentive payment. Well, you'd like to, well, you're not going to get it. So you can say you opt out, but this is where you go associate the workload. And now remember, everything in Microsoft is about how do I get credit for what I'm doing, right? So this is why we're in this little area, is to make sure that we can get as much credit as we possibly can. That's the purpose of this particular area.
Correct me if I'm sorry, going to back up for 1 second, but so I identify from the exports of here's what Microsoft thinks my customer list is, here's what Ingram thinks my customer list is, look for discrepancies, add the ones that are missing. But then you go to the next level. Let me look at every single subscription that I have on Ingram with my customers and make sure that I can map those to that Microsoft is giving me credit. And if they're not, then I would come here also. Is that no?
It's exactly what you do. Yeah. And if we, okay, so your first iteration of the audit is where the majority of any work is going to happen. Like, damn it, we got to spend 6 hours figuring this out, 10 hours figuring this out. After that, when we look at it every 6 months, it's maybe just one, but we got good at what we had to do, and it becomes easier. We then have an idea, and we can sort better based on the reporting and how we get the report.
A time-saving question: if once everything is good with a customer or SKU, do you need to continue looking at it for audit? Are those, if there are no changes to the subscription, do they sometimes just disappear or fall off? Or
I haven't seen that.
So it's just new stuff that I should be focused on after the initial audit, or changes?
Yes. New stuff and/or changes. So yeah, if we go back to a current customer and we're doing an upgrade, right, for them, and we're like, okay, hey, we'll keep an eye on it, go through purchase through Ingram, force it down, then we'll take a look at the customer and partner center. Did we get that? No? Okay, well, let's go ahead and do this exercise. But it'll be more just spot basis, spot checking. We don't have to go back and say, well, we lost another 20%. Luckily, that process hasn't been broken. So, all right. So that is, let's go back to home.
Okay.
And I want you to go to membership. Okay. So as you see on my screen, it says I'm enrolled in Microsoft Action Pack. Yours probably says expired. Okay. No problem. We can click into that and we can pay the fee to the $500, $450, whatever that is, to reignite it or get it going. Good idea. But then also you might say it says solution partner designation. Mine says this, but I don't have it. You may have zeros next to it. It may not even be in your partner center, but this is where that will be. Anytime that you have something, this is where your dates are based on what you have. Okay. Now I want you to scroll down to solution partner overview. On the left-hand side, click on Solution Partner Overview, click on Overview. Okay. Now, on your screen, do you see any that have points in it?
Digital and app innovation is 30 out of 100. Data and AI is 30. Infrastructure is 30. Modern work is 9 on the SMB.
9 on the SMB. And then security, do you have anything in there?
No.
Okay. So let's click into infrastructure. Go to view details. Okay. Now, okay. You said you had 30, right? Okay. So under performance, how many points do you have?
Under 0.
Okay. Click into view details. Okay. And then you're going to click on, see where it says upper right-hand corner, net customer ads?
Yep.
I want you to download that. Okay. Now, let me see if I can even open this. I have none. So let me just see what. Okay. So my report is absolute blank. Okay.
I wouldn't expect much different if it says I'm a 0, but let's see. Actually, I have 4 lines here.
Excellent. Okay. So now, and what are the values next to them? Are they 500 to 1,000? Or are they above $1,000?
The ACR?
Yeah.
They are all over 1,000.
All over 1,000. Okay. Now, what we'll do is we'll need to filter that based on a 1-year thing. So what it looks like is those people were added more than 12 months ago.
Correct. May 24 and April 24, May and April 23 as well. So those are the 4 lines.
Okay.
So actually, I'm sorry, the May and April 24 are not over a year. Those 2 are very much current.
Okay, so those should be net customer, but then wow, yours is all messed up. This doesn't begin. Okay. Okay. Well, put that in an audit folder, please. Okay. That's frustrating. Okay.
You're telling me? Do you have any?
I'm telling you, this is frustrating. Yeah. I've sat with over 1,000 partners in the past 10 years. This is frustrating for me to say that. Yeah, so I know how you feel. Okay, let's hit on the skilling requirement. Go click on view details.
Skilling details. Okay.
Okay, do you have 0 out of 5?
I do.
Okay, so here you're going to download this. So this is the thing. Your technical resources, if they pass an exam, they're going to be using their current personal email. So it could be at Yahoo, at Outlook, right? Whatever. That's how that part of their learning path. That's what they do. So if they don't put your MPN ID, associate that with their test, you're going to have 0. Okay.
It's empty.
Okay. So maybe a question to your technical folks. Hey guys, any of you have this? Yes or no? If they say yes, great. Come on in. I'm buying you pizza. Bring your laptop. Open up your learning portal. Here's my MPN ID. Associate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Here's some pizza. There you go. All right. Thanks. That's the best way, because every time my partners are like, I asked my guy to do it like 10 times and he just never does it.
I don't think any of my guys have any of these currently. I can tell you.
Okay. Yeah. So this is where we're going to help out. So if we use the certification as a service, we'll actually find the 5 individuals, attach them within 30 to 45 days. This will be good. You get all your points. Okay. Now, let's go back, close out of this, and let's look at customer success. So you probably have 10 points in customer success.
I do.
Okay. VMs, love it. That's the easy one, not a problem. But then on usage growth, where are you at in usage growth?
20 out of it says 55.9% increase, maximum 20. I got 20.
Woo! That's great.
What is that?
Okay.
Growth in ACR in the last 12 months. All right. So let's just, what is that metric? Let's just.
Okay.
So Azure consumption. I mean, we just saw that it was like there were 2 lines from the last few months totally. Is that related to this at all?
It's exactly what it's related. So that first one where we did the customers, right? We looked at net customer ads. That's going to show you what they had probably in 2023 and what they have right now. And that's where you're showing your growth. So if you had $1,000 customer, they made $1,200. They're now billing at $1,200, right? Or more than that, actually, because it says 50% growth. That's wild that you have 30 there, but you have no in the this is okay. Okay, so here's a pro tip. Okay, that'll help you out. And I fell into this myself. So about a 1.5 years ago, we did a sandbox for a VDI deployment. Right, I created a VDI lab for Microsoft, and I created. I went and I have my own domain called Azure Direct. It's basically just my sandbox environment. So I went to my distributor and I opened up 3 accounts. Okay, because I needed to have 3 different instances to be able to do this. So I got 3 accounts. I needed Azure Direct 1, 2, and 3, and I deployed these VDIs. What was very interesting is I went back to this overview just by happenstance, and I'm like, wait a minute, I qualify, for a solution partner designation. This is weird. And what I found was you can have yourself as your own customer, and my ads were all $1,000, so it ended up in net customer ads. So an end around pro tip: you could put yourself as your own customer. Now you have a net customer ad.
We use ABD in house, so.
Oh, okay. There we go. Like, hey, let's do that. Why not? We still get a, the cool thing is you get a margin from Ingram for yourself. You get a discount, right?
I'm not getting shit. Like, yeah, we need to have a serious deep dive on at least getting what I should be getting.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so that's the end around. So if we're close, let's say we got 2 of those that got in, and now we just need 1 more. Hey, quick fix, Adam, is just hire yourself as your own customer. Do 1, get that in there, and your growth will be just fine.
How would I go about taking me now and making me a customer in this context? How would I do that?
You call up Ingram. You'd use a new domain name, so it'd be different than your company. You just got to create your own new domain, right? And you're basically using that as your customer to Ingram Micro. You're saying, I'm buying Azure under ABC test domain.
But then we're talking about a migration that I still don't know how to do.
No. Yeah. I would do net new or a migration. Actually, Ingram's got a great program to do that for you. And if it's your own tenant, to migrate it over 2 to 3 steps. They fixed that. 5 years ago, to do a migration from tenant to tenant was a monstrosity. It was a pain in the ass, and it just caught problems.
I have to, if you don't mind, can I take I just want to throw this out, and then if you think it's worth circling back later for, please. We have a client that is ours. They have a Microsoft Direct Azure subscription that predates us, but it's not associated with a reseller. In order for us to take that $4,000 of revenue a month and bring it in, I'm told by Ingram that we can't. They can't. It has to be done via migration, and they were like, "Yeah, we can help you with professional services to cover 50% of the cost." The goal is to get them onto a reserved instance, which Ingram is telling me is going to reduce their bill from 4,000 to roughly 1. I'm waiting on an official quote. I'd be shocked if it reduced at 75%, but regardless, let's say it reduces at 40%. They also told me that I can't take margin on any of that. I can't mark anything up. I can't, none of that. So I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm like, I'm disincentivized to take the business, because you're telling me I have to perform a professional services migration that I have to pay for. Then I'm going to reduce the revenue from 4,000 to 1,000. And you're telling me I'm not going to get a piece. So what's my incentive? Am I missing something? Did that sound wrong to you?
That's miscommunication.
What am I missing?
Everything with that one. Whoever that is a monster mess. I gotta be a little careful here. That's why I paused. I know of. Let's see, how do I? Hey, Phil, can you pause the streaming? I need to. Why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and Adam, just all right. This is the conclusion of the small business path. We'll be coming back to you a little bit later. But right now, if you're watching this via LinkedIn or YouTube, this is the conclusion of the actual streaming. And thank you so much for coming. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to stop